Welcome to this episode of the Sports Detective Podcast Show. My name is James Williams, and today there are still some people out there that believe Joel Embiid is a better basketball player than Nikola Jokic, and one of those people is Stephen A. Smith. He was on Udonis Haslam's podcast, and they were talking about Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid, and Stephen A. Smith ends up saying in this clip I'm about to show you that he would still take Joel Embiid healthy over Nikola Jokic. I will go ahead. I will play this clip here, and then. Okay, so I'm going to get to the injury stuff here, and I'm going to get to the why Jokic is a better player than Embiid here in a second. But I want to kind of maybe play devil's advocate here for the people, and maybe get into their mindset of why they think that Embiid is still a better basketball player than Nikola Jokic. Because if I was going to make the case for it, I'd say just as the package of a basketball player, if you look at like just kind of Embiid, how big he is, the length, him as a rim protector is better than Nikola Jokic, even though I think Nikola Jokic is not a bad defender. He's always in the right positions. He's not a liability. Like Denver never has to take Nikola Jokic out of the basketball game for defensive purposes. He's just never going to look good as a defender because he looks like the guy from Despicable Me. But I think people look at Embiid, and there's certain matchups in the NBA where Embiid basically looks like he is like this unstoppable scoring machine, and he can like drop 70 on any given night. And if you were going to do like a one-on-one basketball game between Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid might beat Nikola Jokic in a game of one-on-one basketball. With that being said, though, the NBA is not a one-on-one basketball tournament. The NBA is a 5-on-5 basketball league. And if you're talking about a player that you want to build around, a player that you want to start a franchise with, a player that you want to have in a 7-game series, Nikola Jokic is second to none right now in the NBA. Nikola Jokic is the best problem solver that we have in the NBA. He is the hardest person to game plan against and to stop in a 7-game series. He is just absolutely incredible getting into his stuff, getting his team organized, and being this offensive engine that is, basically unstoppable in the postseason. I mean, I know they lost this year, but that was because the Minnesota Timberwolves basically built a team to solely stop the Denver Nuggets, because the person that's running the Minnesota Timberwolves now is Tim Connolly, who was the former GM of the Denver Nuggets, and he built a team to stop the Denver Nuggets. If you look at the other teams in the West right now, what did the Oklahoma City Thunder do? What was their big addition this offseason? They signed Isaiah Hartenstein to a massive contract. They got bigger because they know they have to go through Denver. What were the Lakers trying to do this offseason? They were trying to get another big man because they know if they want to get out of the West, they have to go through Denver. What did the Memphis Grizzlies do with their lottery pick? They drafted Zach Edey. If they didn't draft Zach Edey, they were going to get Donovan Clingan. They're getting big because they know they need size to match up with Denver to get through Nikola Jokic. There is no one in the Eastern Conference right now that is building their team to stop the Philadelphia 76ers and Joel Embiid. The Knicks got smaller. I mean, the Celtics are going to be relying on like a 39-year-old Al Horford to stop Joel Embiid, because Kristaps Porzingis is going to be out for a while for the Celtics. I mean, guys, this shouldn't be a debate anymore. We're talking about the postseason. Jokic has his ring. Embiid hasn't gotten to the conference finals, and we talk about the injury stuff with Embiid. And Embiid said this. He was like, hey, the Celtics were lucky because I was hurt this season, so I don't know how much validity we can have in this NBA title for them. Joel Embiid's hurt every postseason. He's been hurt for like the last 7 postseasons. So I think at some point we have to stop using the injury excuse. And we talk about this postseason. Oh, he was hurt this postseason. How hurt was he really? Like, he averaged 33 against the Knicks. If you look at his numbers are really good against the Knicks. He wasn't hurt enough to not drop 50 in game 3. He dropped 50 in game 3. He must not have been that hurt. And if you want to talk about injuries, the New York Knicks didn't have Julius Randle the entire series and the entire playoffs. So I don't really want to hear about injury excuses for Joel Embiid this year. At one point, are people going to look at Joel Embiid and his postseason history with the Philadelphia 76ers, and at what point are they going to say, hey, we got to point the finger a little bit more at Joel? Because 2019, what happens? They lose in 7 games to Toronto, and it's like, oh, Kawhi hit this crazy shot, and Brett Brown's an idiot. 2021 comes around. They blow the 3-1 lead the Atlanta Hawks. It's like, oh, Ben Simmons basically turned into a ghost, and Doc Rivers blew another 3-1 lead. Ha ha, it's all their fault. In 22, first year with Harden, you lose to the Miami Heat. All right, cool. 2023, you guys are up 3-2 over the Boston Celtics. You have game 6 in your house to close out the Boston Celtics, and you blow it. Tatum is awesome in that game 6. And by the way, in that series, the better player on the Sixers, the guy that carried them to at least 2 wins in that series, 2 of their 3 wins, was James Harden, because James Harden played spectacularly in 2 games. Not so much the rest of the games, but 2 games he carried them to 2 victories. This past season, it's injuries, it's blah, 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 blah. At what point are these conversations that we're going to have with Joel Embiid where either him or people that are supporters of him going to basically have the conversation like, hey, this dude has to be better. This dude has to become a better player down the stretch. He has to be able to get into his stuff easier. He's going to be able to have to react better when double teams come. Because Nikola Jokic, if you're comparing the two, Nikola Jokic, he wants you to double team him because that is when he is the most deadly, when he is a passer. Because he is one of the smartest basketball players that we've had in the history of the NBA. That is no knock on Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is a Hall of Famer. Joel Embiid is going to be a top 50 player all time when it's all said and done. He might even be top 30. But like Nikola Jokic is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. And if you look at Nikola Jokic's postseason, he had 2 years basically thrown away of his prime because Jamal Murray was hurt. Like 2021, Jamal Murray gets hurt at the end of the regular season, and then he's out for the entire 2022 season. Also in that 2022 season, Michael Porter Jr. is out the entire year. So he had $70 million worth of contracts, basically half of like their salary cap, like out in the 2022 season. They're finally healthy in 2023. You know what happens? They run through the playoffs. Joel Embiid, he might still have another level to go. That's the bright side if you're the Philadelphia 76ers. You guys, the Sixers won the offseason. They had a terrific offseason. They built up this cap space. They got Paul George. They re-signed Tyrese Maxey. They got Jared McCain in the draft. They re-signed Kelly Oubre. They got Caleb Martin on a discount. They had a terrific offseason. But I don't want to hear about injuries this postseason with Joel Embiid. It's no longer Doc Rivers' fault. It's no longer Ben Simmons' fault. It's no longer James Harden's fault. At some point, if you guys don't start advancing farther in the playoffs, it's like you've been in the league a decade, man. He's been in the league a decade. He's not a young player anymore. 30 years old. I want to see you get it done better in the postseason because I do think he has gotten a pass from some people for a shoddy postseason resume. Again, you can hit me over the head with numbers. I just know what I see on the court, and I know that sometimes it's a little bit clunky. And no matter what the coach is, no matter what his co-star is in Philly, we've seen this the last 5 years. It's the same song and dance every time we get in the postseason, and he's the one constant. So there you have it, guys. That's going to do it for this video here today. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button. That is the best way to help this channel grow. We want to defeat the algorithm, and the more subs I get, the better chance I have to defeat the algorithm. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed this video and leave a comment on what you think about this video. Would appreciate the feedback. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to check out the rest of the Sports Detective podcast channel page. There might be some other videos that we have on there that you might enjoy. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.